Hi, I'm Michael Lister, and he's...
Oi, Gofton, we're filming!
I'm Paul Gofton. Welcome to another awesome episode of BPG TV.
And today we're going to talk about the 5 steps for refueling. Location, health and safety and equipment pre-checks, safe refueling practices, stop before you overtop, spill response, storage and security. I'm at a construction site here in Christchurch with John Townsend from Texco. Hi John.
G'day Mike, how are you going?
You're not too bad. To find out some more about refueling, over to you Paul.
Thanks, and I'm here on a secure location in Burnham with Sergeant Rollo from New Zealand Defence Force. Today we'll be explaining the key points of refueling, whether you're on deployment or redevelopment.
This video is designed to show you the key points for safe refueling to help protect you, the environment and your company's reputation.
Whatever job you do, we all have a responsibility to protect New Zealand. On today's episode, we're down at Burnham Military Camp with Sergeant Rollo.
How's it going?
Great. Just before we start, do I need any body armour?
No, you should be alright.
Anything with Kevlar?
No, it's just a training scenario.
Okay. Basically, what are the first steps of refueling?
So first of all, picking the right ground is our first step. So what we do is we stop short of the area that we go to. We will clear through to make sure that there's no enemy, and whilst we're clearing through, the commander that follows in behind will make sure that he's following the right distances from waterways, power lines, any ammunition that we're going to be placing out there, and making sure that the security from the enemy is all correct.
Great. Do you check for IEDs, unexploded bombs, that sort of thing?
Yep, so when we're going through, we're checking the ground, make sure there's no booby traps or no IEDs, so that we don't get blown up and don't blow up our diesel.
Location is secure.
So John, you agree with that?
Yep, sure do. The Army have their bombs, which is a spectacular thought, but the contractor has the same type of explosion, but it's much slower acting. If we drop fuel on the ground, if we drop fuel into a waterway, then local authorities will be taking a case against us. Our reputation will be in tatters. We have to keep the fuel in the machines.
So for best practice, be a minimum of at least 20 metres away from the nearest waterway, and also install sump protection.
And if you look around this site, you can see them everywhere. It's up to your site foreman and your site operators to know where all the sumps are, because the last thing you want is fueling up happening over the top of a sump. Pretty obvious, but make sure your operators know where all the sumps are.
What's the next step in your process?
So next what we do is once we get into location, we get our fire extinguishers out, so that if there's any problems then we can put a fire out. We also have signage for no smoking, and we also have our spill kits.
What was that?
Don't worry about that.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Alright. So next after that, what we do is we go through and we pre-check all our equipment. So we've got to check that the pumps are all working fine and making sure that there's no leaks through any of our stuff, and that there's not going to be any problems once we're using the equipment.
That's great. And what about health and safety equipment?
Health and safety, so we've got our spill kits, we've got eye washers, and we have a portable shower system that we use as well. PPE,
it's your first line of defence.
So John, now we're up to play with what the New Zealand Army do. What do you guys do?
Well, Mike, it's all about containers. The fuel arrives in a container, it's put in a container, and the link between the two is the operator. So the operator has to make sure that the hose is obviously attended at all times. That's the biggest one. Don't leave the hose or the nozzle unattended. If you do get a spill, then the drama begins. Because if you spill it on the ground, as we've got here, then around about each litre that you spill is around about a cubic metre that's got to be dug out, taken away to an authorised dump site. The authorised dump site will cost you hundreds of dollars per metre. So don't spill it. If you spill on hard concrete, hard standing like that, use a spill kit. Make sure you've got spill kits on site. The lesson is keep your hands on the nozzle at all times. Do not leave it unattended.
For more information, go on the line to the Builder's Pocket Guide website.
So what happens when you refuel from a jerry can?
Jerry cans, no problem, you're back to containers again. Doesn't matter about the size of the container. If it's just a plastic jerry can, put it on the ground. Make sure you don't take your hand off the nozzle at any time. And if you do spill something, mop it up with your spill kit. Andy's come from the police to give us their idea of what may be done on sites. So Andy, from the police point of view, what do you think about tankers?
Well, we're certainly seeing an increase in tankers fuel being taken from tankers on construction sites. So we're really saying if you don't need to leave your tanker on site, don't. Take it with you. But if it is kept on site, make sure you have a good lock assembly so that it makes it near impossible to get into it. It's also important too, from a policing point of view, to keep a good record of what fuel you've got on site and in your tanker. It's difficult for us to prosecute people if we don't know what's being taken. So you need to have good, accurate records taken every day of your fuel in that tanker.
What about your security, Sergeant?
We're happy with our security.
Classified.
So let's recap. Where'd you get that from?
Oh, this, I just borrowed it, don't worry mate. I'll give it back. Let's recap.
Location,
Health and safety pre-checks, no smoking.
safe refueling practices, stop before you overtop.
Spill response.
Storage and security.
Awesome.
You guys can stand down now.
Do you mind if I have a word, Sergeant?
Not at all.
Great job today, thanks guys. We really do appreciate the hard work that you're doing here in New Zealand and overseas. You're doing a great job and we're counting on you to help protect New Zealand. Thanks a lot.